Match number 30 of the Tata IPL 2025, and we return to the Ekana Stadium where LSG face on the Chennai Super Kings. The Rishabh Pant led side were missing somebody like a Mitchell Marsh, man in form due to family reasons. Without him, they comfortably chased down and defeated the Gujarat Titans, while Chennai got an unwanted record for the first time, losing 5 games on the trot, Orko, I must tell you. 3 games on the trot defeat at home. These they have never achieved. So MS Dhoni's return into the captaincy stuff was short-lived, to be honest. But your thoughts? We are focusing on LSG versus CSK before moving on to in-depth analysis. A little bit of momentum towards Lucknow.
Definitely. I mean, also the fact that they're playing at home, and apart from momentum that Lucknow has, you also have to look at the opposition they are facing. And I think I've very rarely seen CSK this depleted. I mean, if you remember in one of those UAE legs in 2020 or
Correct.
2021, that was when they finished last. We saw Dhoni getting tired trying to hit Bhuvaneshwar Kumar out of the park. I think that was the phase where we last saw CSK struggle that badly. And apart from the fact that Dhoni took over the leadership, I think the loss of Gaikwad, the batter, has depleted them even more. I mean, he's like a run bank. I know that he wasn't among the runs in the games that he played, but still he's a class player and he's a big loss for MS and his team. Of course, we expect MS to do well. Even if you give him 10 pieces of wood, he will bring the results out. That's the kind of captain he's always been. But it's sad that they lost, and that too in such a bad way. Their net run rate took a big beating. Of course, as
True.
a KKR fan, I am certainly very happy. But to see CSK struggle like that, of course, it did seem a bit weird. And perhaps if you empathize what's the problem for the fans, I would really understand that they are going through a bad phase.
Absolutely, they're definitely going through a bad phase. And you said about Ruturaj Gaikwad, the batter they're missing. I must tell you, Ruturaj Gaikwad, one person, equivalent to the players they have bought in the auction, were not performing at all. Rahul Tripathi, Vijay Shankar, and Deepak Huda. Vijay Shankar, you can somehow say, it's a little bit scoring runs in the last couple of games. But Deepak Huda, my word, what a good player he was when he was for the Sunrise Hyderabad. Now, absolutely out of form. Can we see a little bit of new faces, youngsters, into the side for Chennai?
Well, of course, perhaps they may look at because that the season is coming into a phase where it's very crucial. They need to get results and results in favor of them, not just play good cricket, but play cricket which is good enough to bring them 2 points. So I think they may look at experimentation, though Dhoni doesn't like to tinker with his 11 too much. But that being said, Tripathi hasn't been doing well. Huda, of course, people will call them the next Kohli in T20 cricket. After that century with Ireland, somehow has lost his way out. And Shankar's been here and there. He's had a good record against spinners. He played Varun pretty well in the previous game. He was almost dropped for a duck by Narayan in the first 2 3 balls itself, but he went on to score a few runs. If not, maybe they wouldn't have even crossed 80. But again, Shankar is a pretty good bet. They may look at some youngsters. They have Sheikh Rashid. He's someone who's been promising in under 19. They may perhaps look at him as that class player, or maybe even Vansh Bedi. He was also very
Exactly.
prime prospect. He's a lower order hitter though, but again, he can be a very important player if he is given the chance. And certainly, when you're seeing people like Priyan Sharia do well, Vansh Bedi wouldn't be any stranger to that. So maybe this is the time they may go in for a new phase and perhaps get the results in their favor.
100%. This is the time for the Chennai Super Kings because every single game feels like a final for them if they have to make it to the playoffs. Because I always say that 2023 was the best time for MS Dhoni to call it a day after winning it at Ahmedabad. But on the other hand, Lucknow Super Giants comfortably defeated the Gujarat Titans. Rishabh Pant getting a little bit of runs, promoting himself up the order as an opener. I think is that the best position till the time Mitchell Marsh comes back.
I would say even if Mitchell Marsh comes back, he should play there. I mean, I know Markram's been among the runs. I know Marsh has been doing well as an opener. I would perhaps use Markram at number three because he can play that anchor role and also, if required, the aggressor. He has that game in him. He's played in the middle order in the past, even for his national team. So I would open with Pant and Marsh if I was, in the think tank leadership scheme of things of LSG because that gives you a right left combination. And Pant, we know that he has, chronically struggled against spin. So if you bring him up in the power play where there are a lot of gaps and the field restrictions are on. I think against pace he can be dominant. He wasn't at his best in this one game, but I think if you give him more opportunities, there will be greater results coming in his favor.
Yeah, we have seen that before as well. Rishabh Pant, the opener. I think the higher the order, as just now, at the moment, he's not getting runs with the bat. He can utilize the power play, is what I feel, and that's the reason why I agree with you in terms of even after Mitchell Marsh comes back, Mitchell Marsh and Rishabh Pant should open. Markram at three, and Nicholas Puran, the man who's in red out form. He can bat in any position. 3 and 4 doesn't make any difference, to be honest. Let's take a look at the head-to-head between LSG and Chennai. 4 times these two teams have met each other. LSG have won it three compared to the men yellow won it one. Now, numbers say differently. Your thoughts on Chennai Super Kings now? What do they do in terms of brand of cricket, especially in the power play?
Well, they have to go hard. I mean, in whatever way possible, if they promote someone up the order, if they may bring back Sam Curran. If you remember a very old tactic that MS Dhoni had,
Correct.
he used to make Sam Curran open the innings with Gaikwad. So I think if he would do that, maybe you need a pinch hitter in front if your proper batters aren't doing the job. Somehow Rachin's, being slow and defensive. Conway is not among the runs. They are missing Gaikwad pretty badly. So maybe you have to, try some experiments, bring a few players who are lower down the order, up the order, maybe bring back Sam Curran or such kind of
Maybe
experimentation is required. So maybe MS Dhoni knows what's best for his team. We are only here to suggest and discuss. But I do believe that whatever they do, they have to do it pretty soon. Otherwise, it's going to get too late.
100%. They have to do it as soon as possible. And in the previous game, they used Deepak Huda as the impact player. Unfortunately, they couldn't use Patirana, the bowler. And that's something you need to take into consideration. You should have had him in the 11, rather, is what I feel compared to the others. Let's take a look at the pitch report of the Ekana Stadium, which is turning out to be a batting paradise. Ekana Stadium this time around since 2023 has been relayed. We all know about that. 17 matches have been played at this venue, Orco. 8 times the team batting first has won it compared to 9 times the team, rather 8 times the team chasing, 8 apiece in terms of that, with one game being a washout. Your thoughts on that? Because it was a day game when LSG chased it down, but in the evening game as well, runs are coming because the pitch is playing really well. Ball is coming nicely onto the bat. What would you do if you win the toss? Chennai will definitely bat first because 180 plus targets are not in their reach.
Definitely, and I think Lucknow also would look to bat first unless there is, a significant amount of due because CSK does have a problem chasing, and that's what Lucknow would also look to do. And CSK, as I already said, they need to find a way out to get those starts. I mean, even if you say that a pitch like Chepauk or a pitch like Ekana would be troublesome for the batters, KKR ended up scoring 70 in the first 6 overs. And even last year, KKR played then the Ekana and they got off to a brilliant start with
Correct.
Narayan and Salt going berserk. So I think there are no excuses in this particular format. You need to swing your bat wherever required. If you do it with the same set of batters or with new faces, we don't know. But it's pretty late now, so CSK have to make some amends right now at the right moment possible. So perhaps CSK would also look to bat first, and Lucknow would be comfortable doing whatever they want. If Dew is in the picture in a large extent, maybe they'll want to chase. But I believe that Lucknow would want to bat first.
Okay, so you think the Lucknow would look to bat first at this venue? Home ground, they will have the crowd as well and expecting a lot of sea of yellow. No matter the side is not performing well, 5 losses on the trot. I repeat, that's not good. But away from home, they can look into some momentum and get a victory into their name because they're reading at the bottom of the points table. Sunrise Hyderabad played like Sunrise Hyderabad yesterday, and they now come back to form. What a knock burst from Abhishek Sharma. Let's move on to the strategic timeout section now. I have Orko with me. Orko, as you know, it's 4 questions, 60 seconds. Your time starts now. Rachin Ravindra or Aiden Markram, which opener do you think will score more runs?
Well, I support form, and I believe Markram's familiar with Ekana a little more, so perhaps I would rate Markram scoring higher runs than Rachin.
Okay, which wicket-keeping captain do you think will have a more bigger impact tomorrow?
Definitely Dhoni. I mean, he's a better leader, a more experienced leader. So I think Dhoni would have a lot of impact, especially as a captain and a keeper.
Okay, Digvesh Shetty or Noor Ahmed, which spinner do you think will pick more wickets?
I think Noor. I mean, Noor has that that unique ability, that left arm Chinaman aspect would perhaps be favorable to neutralize people like Markram up front. So I think Noor would have a crucial game tonight.
Okay, how many sixes do you think Chennai Super Kings will hit tomorrow?
I hope eight, or if not more, that's what the fans would want. But maybe 7 or 8 is what I feel.
7 or 8 is a very, very big number, I must tell you, because the side is struggling without Shubham Dubey to clear the fence. Okay, 4 questions have been answered according to you. We'll see at the end of the day how many do you get correct. But you said about Digvesh Shetty versus Noor Ahmed. Noor is a presence, but what a find of the tournament has been Digvesh Shetty. A little bit of notebook celebration, which is now going into the turf. But talk us through his character, his bowling skills.
Well, definitely. I mean, even the Delhi Premier League was very promising. He and Priyank Sharia were the two names which flourished a lot in that tournament. So certainly it was bound to happen. And as I previously even said, a lot of credit to Pant because he backed a spinner like him so early, gave him opportunities in the power play, in the middle overs, in the death overs, not looking at the fact that he's an inexperienced rookie. He trusted his abilities more than his experience, and he's been delivering the goods. He's hardly gone for boundaries. He bowls a very nagging length with a bit of mystery, that kind of carrot ball that deviates inward and outward. So certainly he could trouble CSK because CSK has had their problems against spin, especially MS Dhoni if he gets a chance. And what would be a better side, to make a few controversies or raise a few eyebrows if he does that notebook celebration by dismissing Dhoni. And that's very much possible because even KKR, kept back Narayan and Chakravarti just for Dhoni. So maybe Pant would also want to do the same by keeping back Digvesh or even Bishnoi for Dhoni. So that's very much on the cards.
Anything could be possible because mind you, the previous time Lucknow played away from it was at Eden Gardens, and they did he got rid of Sunil Narayan and he did the notebook celebration on the turf. So mind you, anything could be possible. But if he gets Dhoni, it's going to be headlines all over the place. Okay, let's move on to the players to watch out for, and let's take a look into my picks. Nicholas Puran, Digvesh Shetty, and Shardul Thakur are my three players to watch out from LSG. Devon Conway, Shivam Dubey, and Ravi Chandran Ashwin are the three players for Chennai Super Kings. Let's take a look into your. Is there any other name according to you?
Well, definitely, these are the players. I mean, Puran is the one who decides the game, I would say, because he's the one who has been in the form of his life. He's been hitting every bowler at will. So you cannot think of, rating a Lucknow without a Puran. So certainly he'll be an important factor. We already discussed Digpesh doing pretty well, especially with CSK's problems against spin, especially in the middle order. So Digpesh would have a big task ahead. I believe Pant would have an important game because, he would like to get a few more runs in his belt. And if Marsh is not available, if he gets the chance to open, he may look to dominate bowlers like Khalil and all. Shardul Thakur, again, a very important bowler. He knows CSK pretty well. A
Against his
wonderful
former
death bowler.
franchise, yeah.
Exactly, a wonderful death bowler. Also bowls pretty intelligently in the power play. He could be a handful in this particular ground with those long, wide dimensions as well. Certainly, these are the players which Lucknow would consider very instrumental for their result. CSK, of course, Conway, as you rightly said, is short of runs. He needs to get going and get going hard. Not just the runs, but you need to get those runs in quick time, and that's what they would look at. Dubey would have an important game, I believe, because he's a spin basher, and we do know that two wrist spinners coming from Lucknow. And with these big boundaries, you expect someone like Dubey to play an important role in this game. Noor Ahmed also would have a pretty important role, I believe. Maybe even Khalil Ahmed, getting early wickets could have a big role. So these are the names who need to step up. Otherwise, CSK don't have a big chance in this tournament.
Absolutely. I think this could be a make or break for someone like a Ravi Chandran Ashwin this surface. I was tempting to go for Noor Ahmed, but Ravi Ashwin, the scientist, having a little bit of problem with his social media channel as well. But I think he hasn't been his best so far returning back to the men in yellow. So I think this could be the make or break for Ashwin. Let's take a look at the top three battles I've gone for. Khalil Ahmed versus Rishabh Pant is my battle number one. Expect a little bit of firepower in that one. Digvesh Shetty versus Shivam Dubey. And Noor Ahmed versus Nicholas Puran is my battle number three. Anything different from here?
No, definitely. I think these are the three battles which will be very crucial for their respective sides. I think Noor versus Puran would be a mouth-watering battle. Maybe even Ashwin versus Puran because that
Could be.
left-hander
Yeah.
facing a right-arm off-spinner aspect. Ashwin being a very intelligent bowler, but of course he has not had his best of days. We saw Nitish Rana going after him. We saw Priyank Charya going after him, and Puran, obviously tops the list if you look at capabilities. So it may not be easy for Ashwin to thrive against Puran. As you already said, Noor Ahmed versus
Nicholas.
Noor Ahmed versus Nicholas Purans also would be a very crucial battle because
And
Noor takes the
Digvesh
ball.
Shetty versus Shivam Dubey.
Exactly. Digvesh Rati versus Shivam Dubey would be crucial because they believe Shivam Dubey is the spin hitter and Digvesh Rati has been very miserly, especially in the middle overs and also at the death, doesn't concede boundaries pretty easily. And he gets big wickets. He got Nera and he got Butler, so he's got that knack of getting the big blows to the opposition. So that would be a crucial game. And Khalil versus Pant, two old faces, similar people because they have played for Delhi Capitals together. So
Correct.
a bit of familiarity associated with each of them. And Khalil has been wonderful in the power play. I mean, he always gets wickets. Didn't get against KKR, but he's always been among the wickets in the power play. And Pant, with his flamboyance, would want to get into the runs early as possible in the power play. So again, that would be a very important matchup.
Absolutely. You said about all the three matches. You said Puran versus Ashwin could be another key one because the right arm off spinner taking the ball away from the left hander. Fair enough. Let's take a look at the predicted playing 11 now, starting with the Lucknow Super Giants. I think this is a good 11. Considering that Mitchell Marsh is not available for the next game as well, I continue to have Himmat Singh, who did not have a bat in the previous game. Ayush Badoni came in at the impact sub. But on the opposite end, in the bowling department, I think Prince Yadav should come into the side in place of Akasdeep.
Definitely. I mean, Akashdeep has been going after for a lot of runs, in the power play, in the death. He's not been effective anywhere. Avesh and Shardul have been brilliant, and you need a third seamer to complement that. I was surprised why they went for Akashdeep, perhaps because of greater experience in
Correct.
international cricket is why they chose him over Prince Yadav. But Prince Yadav hardly put a step wrong. He was doing pretty well. He's got a very wonderful line and length, especially in the middle overs, gets those wickets. A bowler pretty similar to Mayank Yadav, and I think when you have someone like him, you could continue backing
Absolutely.
him and we know Pant backs youngsters, so I do believe Prince Yadav is going to make a statement in this game if he gets his chances.
Even I think so. Even I think that Prince Yadav will make a comeback into the side in place of Akasdeep, but the rest of the players speak themselves. Let's take a look at the Chennai Super Kings playing 11. I've gone with the change. I think they need a youngster into the side. I've gone with Vansh Bedi into the side. Vijay Shankar Stairs. No Rahul Tripathi. no Deepak Huda into my side, while the rest of the players pick themselves. Anshul Kamboj is there, no Mukesh Chaudhary. What are your changes?
Well, I think I would do the same. You would want to bring in someone like a Vansh Bedi to, strengthen their batting. And more importantly, not just strengthen batting, but add more fire and flavor to the batting. You need big hits, and Vansh Bedi can provide that. And
Fearless batting
why
is what
not
I
try
call.
him? Exactly. Why not try him? And you associate fearlessness with even Tripathi, but when the results are not coming, I think his time is up. So why not try the youngsters? Perhaps it's not the template Dhoni usually follows. He believes in backing his players, but I think that this time around it's already in a very crucial juncture. Why not try a youngster ahead? And Anshul Kamboj, I'm very, very happy that he got his chances. I believe that he should have played much earlier given the red hot form he has had in domestic cricket. I think he's just the kind of bowler you need in the power play, a proper hit the deck bowler. He's got a few cutters as well and maybe handy in the death. I think 2 or 3 overs up front with Khalil would bring a lot of results for CSK.
True.
And before it's too late, I'm happy that he's got his chances.
Absolutely, we are definitely happy. I just hope that he gets his opportunity tomorrow against the Lucknow Super Giants. Playing 11 is done and dusted. Time to put Orko into the hot seat. Predictions time. Pressure on you. Is it going to be 6 defeats on the trot for the Chennai Super Kings, or will Lucknow Super Giants continue with the momentum? Match number 30, LSG versus CSK. What is your percentage for this game, Orko?
Well, I hate to, underrate or underestimate a side which is led by Dhoni, but I have to be practical and seeing recent form, CSK have been nowhere near to what Lucknow is, and especially because Lucknow is playing in their home turf, I still believe that it's a 65-35 possibility of Lucknow winning this game this time around.
Okay, 65-35. Good enough because of the form Lucknow Super Giants in carrying compared to their opponents. Fair enough. Thank you so much, Orko. Thank you to all the viewers watching this video. It's LSG versus CSK. Back to weekdays, Monday, cracking encounter at the Ekana Stadium. Sit back and enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe to Fifth Umpire. Press the bell icon as well. Thank you so much.